Hello there, my mate Vince here, and in this video today we're going to try to fix up this expensive pet feeder here. It is a microchip pet feeder Connect by Shaw Pet Care. Costs £160 I believe, because this is a more expensive one that also weighs the food. So you're supposed to put separate bowls in here, or either one bowl, and you can weigh the food left and right or both together, and it's supposed to help you not overfeed or underfeed your pet. Essentially this is for cats, but it would also work for small dogs as well. Now I believe the problem was the weighing side of it, and if I hit this button at the back here, this is supposed to like zero the scales. It's not doing anything. So when I hit this, if I press down on these two and hit this, it's not doing anything. It should have bowls with it. It should have also a flap as well. The idea is the flap stays closed. I can buy one for about £10, but this is going to be going back to Mike anyway. I presume he's taken it off to maybe have as a spare for his replacement one. So you have your bowl in here full of dry food or wet food, and then the flap comes over and it shuts itself down. When the cat goes in, the flap lifts itself up and exposes the food. When the cat moves away, the flap closes again. The idea is it keeps the food fresher, and more importantly, it doesn't allow other animals to eat the food, or maybe less importantly, but whatever. It only allows the cat that you have trained to go in here to eat. You can have up to 32 animals on here and microchips, and even if you change out the batteries, it's supposed to store that. But with me, obviously, I haven't got an animal with a microchip on, so I'm just going to be using this little tag here. And when I go in, it does recognize it. Can you see the light comes on here? But this isn't moving. But I believe Mike told me that the problem was with this here. I can see it's quite grubby around the place, so I'm wondering if it just needs a clean on the inside. I'm not sure if this back part is related to this front part. Right now it doesn't seem to be operating at all, but I can hear a motor working. So when you do this, this is supposed to lift it up and down. There you go, it worked that time. Did you see there? It worked that time, it went down. So right now the lid would be closed, and then when you lift it up, it's like a lid in two halves and it folds like this. It's a shame it's not on here, because then you'd understand more how it works. But yeah, it's very, very hit and miss. It will probably work now. Also, the other thing is, it's taken ages. When the cat removes its head, it seems to be taking a long time for the lid to close. You can see that there's little sensors here and here that marry up to here and here, and that's when it knows that the cat's gone in here. There you go, see, it hasn't worked again. That should be lifting up. So I think we've got a problem with the gears as well as something to do with the weigh-in here, because there's nothing happening with these lights. Now, annoyingly, you have to have it connected to an app for full features. I've tried to connect it to the app, but you need a separate little hub in order to do that, another Shaw feed hub. It looks like a cat with ears that glow. So I'm going to be very limited to showing you this working, but maybe if we dismantle it, it might be quite interesting to see what's on the inside, and physically we might see some corrosion or a broken wire or something, in which case then hopefully we know that we fixed it just from seeing what the damage might be. Let's get it over to the mat, take it apart, and see if we can get something working on it. Now, it's always hard working on a product that you're not used to, because half the battle is just working out how the thing works. But it clearly says in the instructions, please be aware if you haven't set a portion weight in the app, which I haven't, the portion indicator lights will not illuminate when food is added to the feeder. But what I'm thinking is that maybe it should still do something when we reset it, or give some kind of indication, or maybe it's going to be as simple as we'll find a broken wire. Now, I have reset the whole thing by holding down this button. If you hold this down for about 10 seconds, then what happens is it flashes, I can't remember, red and green or something like that, and that indicates it's been reset. And you can buy extra ones of these. I mean, why has it just done that? Unless it's recognised my hand and this close to it, that's probably what it is. So it's worked that time there. You can buy extra one of these if your cat's not microchipped. Now, Mike sent various things into the channel in the past. So we've had a MacBook, we've had a Bose system. We have had, what else have we had? MacBook, Bose system, oh, I can't remember now. Fake Amiga watch, temperature probe. So there's been a few things. Look at that, I did well with my mixture of batteries there. Now, there's a load of screws at the back here, so let's undo them and we'll see what lurks inside this. Designed in Cambridge, UK. I wonder, is it made there? Unlikely. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Yuck. And that is where... Ah, look, there is a lump of hair and stuff here. I don't understand why it works sometimes and not other times. I mean, what is it, just spinning freely on its axle? Kind of need to know that, don't I? Let's have a quick look around the place. So a reset button for the weigh-in is here. That goes down. Oh, that goes to this board then. And how are these? How do these actually work? Where's the wires feeding these ones? Oh, here. No. Yeah, here. Here and here it must be. Oh, wow. Look at this here. Look at all that. So that's going up around here, isn't it? In a big loop. So that must be to do with reading the this thing. Or the microchip of the animal. Oh, is that a broken wire there? Just here. Is that white one broken? No, I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. They seem to have done it in an unusual way here. It's like they've kind of done wires at the edge of the board. And it must just to make it easier for people to solder things onto. Can you see, like these are soldered on the edge of the board, not top or bottom, on the actual edge. Right, I think let's, first of all, I kind of need to put the batteries back in to see what's happening here, because it seems to be sometimes just whirring and not doing anything. So maybe something's loose, and if it's mechanical it might be easier to see. I just want to see this switch here, so I'm on continuity to see if the zero's working. Yes. Oh, no. No, yes it is. So the 0 is working, and then that comes all the way over to here. So that comes to here. And this one is going to go to here. Yes. And then that board is fed to this board. Oh, okay. So although the 0 goes to this board is, it must be, the brains must be on this board down here, because we have a big ribbon cable that goes down onto here. I think I'm going to take some pictures. If something comes undone, I won't know where it goes back to. And if you look here, the wires go up here. These wires must be to do with these little sensors here. So they go from here. But then, I'm not sure. Oh, and then these wires must go up to these sensors here. So it knows when it's broken, when the cat's head is in there. Well, I think first of all, I'm going to undo this big screw here and here and see if these little sensor for the weights come out. Well, those wires are just soldered in there directly, so unless they're a bad connection here, I don't think it's anything to do with that. So I'm going to put them back on. Let's try the other one. Well, actually, if I need to get the circuit board out, I'm going to have to leave these undone. I wonder, can I take this out? Yes, I can. Right, my eyes immediately drawn to here. Let's zoom in on that. Also, I can see a big lump of solder splat here. Right, let's look at this. No, that's just some sort of epoxy, isn't it? That's sat on it, or some kind of conformal coating that's just gathered up there. I don't think there's an issue there. What we got here? ARM chip. STM32L071. Crystal there. Also another crystal down here. Well, it's a lot more complicated than I thought, but then again, I suppose it's got to remember 32 different microchips, even when the batteries get changed out. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a little Easter egg right there, isn't it? I completely missed that when I was filming, but I spotted it when editing, thank God. Check it out! What a odd quote. Never heard that one before. My name is Osmandius, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. What? That's one for Google. Don't go yet though, you can finish watching this video first. Don't be leaving my video dead in the water. You know full well once you Google that you're going down some rabbit hole that you're not coming back from for at least 2 to 3 hours. And there are all the LEDs for the weights at the bottom here. All these. Well, nothing's jumping out at me as anything obvious. This video today is sponsored by PCBWay. So head over to PCBWay.com and you will see that they're having their 10th anniversary. And you can take the 10th anniversary tour. In the tour, you will find a nice range of money off exclusive coupons. And you can unlock another exclusive coupon after watching the video. And depending on whether you've shopped with PCBWay before in the past, you will have access to either 1 or 2 boxes, which will contain a mystery gift. Now, if you haven't come across PCBWay before, let me tell you a bit about them. PCBWay is your one-stop solution for all things PCB fabrication and assembly. From rapid prototyping to full-scale production, PCBWay delivers top-quality products. So whether you're a seasoned engineer or a hobbyist just starting out, PCBWay's user-friendly interface makes ordering your own custom PCBs very easy. So I'd like to wish PCBWay a happy 10th anniversary. Didn't work. Double one didn't work. 1 minute. This time. Whoa! So I'd like to thank PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mate Vince channel, and I hope you have another 10 years of success. Links, as always, will be in the description down below. So, how have they wired this up? Battery from there goes to... Ah, but there's continuity there. So does that mean that they're in, are they just in series with each other? So we go from here to here, this then goes to here. Well, that suggests they're in series. So we're going to have 6 volts. So if I was to get my bench power supply and go between negative here and here, I think that would work. Yeah, because there's a trace that travels all the way down here from this top one. It goes all the way down the edge of the board. So that must go to this this wire down here. Right, let's get the bench power supply on. Right, bench power supply is on. And as you can see, 6 volts. So let's connect it up. Let's see if we can see this motor physically doing something. So we're going to be going on to here and here. Is that correct? I think so. Well, I've physically just seen it move down here. Right, okay. So let's see now, if I hit this top button, will it move? No. So I can hear the motor moving, but this is not moving. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm hitting the wrong button, but I've just seen these lights light up. Look, can you see? What? Why are they working now and I haven't done anything? Okay, well, come back to that in a minute. Let's see what's happening with this motor when we do this thing. So I can't see anything spinning. Oh, there we go. So why did it work that time? Why is it not working now? We're looking here. Well, every time I do this, it should be lifting it up and down because you want to be able to put food in it, not the cat doesn't determine when the food goes in it. So clearly that's not working. So there's definitely a problem here, but it seems to be intermittent. Interesting about the lights here though. But now look, they're not doing anything now. See, this is the problem when you don't understand the item. It makes it much harder. But now they're not working. The lights are not working now, but they work for a few seconds. Right, let's take apart this motor here. And let's see if we can find out why it's just spinning like that. So it is a little bit of a pain to get to. To begin with, you've got to undo 4 big Phillips screws. That's nice and easy. And then the whole motor and also the flap assembly comes out. But you still need to get the actual gearbox and motor out of the flap assembly. And we've got 3 screws to undo, but also the mechanism's held onto the shaft of the motor. So we've got 1 screw to undo, and also we've got a nut to undo as well. And when we've undone all of that, that will then allow you to take out the motor and the gearbox. So let's now open up the gearbox itself and see if we can see what's wrong. Right, and that comes off there. That's not easy though. But can you see it's locked into place by this thing here? So let's see if we can take that out. Right, now this should now come out. Yes. Okay. Well, I presume there's something in here that slips, and I think it's going to be a bit. I'm hoping to find a bit of corrosion in here. Do you know? I'm not allergic to cats, but my nose feels tickly because I've got hay fever. I'm just going to get the vacuum cleaner and clean this up a little bit. If I can get it working, I'll give it a proper clean up. This is only to make it nicer for me to work on. See, maybe if it recognises some sort of strain or something, it throws everything else off. Don't know. Right, so that's the motor there. What's this thing? Is this thing acting as some weird clutch? So that big gear is going to go down next to that. And that is going to go there and on the inside off there. I don't quite understand why this is spinning but not spinning. So that spins lovely and easy. Goes there. That spins nice. Well, that spins really nice. So why is this? That's not on a clutch, is it? Look, that doesn't... I'm confused. We heard the motor spinning, did we not? But it wasn't spinning. But there's no clutch. Just going to clean this up a bit. I'm really confused about that. Because there's nothing in here that's going to give. You know, that's just a simple arm that moves, yeah? And there's nothing in here that can give either. And the motor hasn't got a gearbox, it came straight out of the middle here. So basically it should just work. I can't see how it was slipping. That's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the gearbox and the motor and this mechanism later. I'm going to turn my attention to the weighing part of it because that was the original problem that Mike told me about. Now, before we do that, let's give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. The Massive members this month are kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Bazza2, Russ Melanson, Gaspar Heller, Rickard Bergland, Soul Reaver 555, the My Mate Vince Fan Club, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, and Rob Taylor. So massive thanks to each and every one of you. So as always, a massive thanks to everybody over on Patreon. Really proud of myself because I managed to get through that list. Not too bad considering my nose now is completely and utterly blocked with hay fever. Every single year it happens at this time. I think it's grass pollen that affects me. Anyway, it's amazing. If you pinch your nose now, or people who suffer from hay fever will know what I'm talking about, you run out of breath. Try speaking for like 30 seconds or 1 minute flat with no break. And even like that, trying to get some breaths in, because it's just when you can't breathe through your nose, it's even a struggle speaking. But for me, it's not just pollen related, it's pollution related as well, because as a kid, whenever I used to go to Ireland, my hay fever used to clear up. So yeah, it's definitely not just the pollen, it's something to do with pollution as well, I think, which is a shame. So I need to stop driving that 6.75 litre Rolls Royce, don't I? Anyway, let's start looking at these weigh and scale bits. I think what I'm going to do is, see, I can't find anything wrong anywhere. I wonder, let's just have a look at these a minute. Oh, hold on. That looks like it's been crushed quite badly there. Look at that. Do you see here? That looks like it's been crushed very badly. Just here. I wonder, has that white one gone completely through? Right, let's see. See, I can't get to the other end of it because it's all sealed in here, you know. Don't even know how these things work. I tell you what I could do, because I don't know how they work anyway. Shall we undo the screws here and see what's happening on the inside, and then I might be able to measure the white wire back. Imagine if that was it. If the white wire was just trapped from manufacture, and it just took a while for it to break through. With all the flexing, you know, the flexing off it when it's with the weight going on and off, it might have broken through. Nah. So that's all sealed in here, so it's got nothing to do with these bits here. That's annoying. Maybe I can get an ohms reading between the two of them. So I'm going to unsolder, right, so I'm going to unsolder the 4 wires on the left hand weighing scale and the 4 wires on the right hand weighing scale, and then I'm going to measure between both of them. I'm going to check for resistance. I'm going to also check for millivolts as well, because maybe when you bend these, they create a bit of millivoltage. Not too sure. Anyway, the odds of them both failing are pretty slim. Surely they're either both going to work or one or the other is going to have failed. So if I measure between the wires on, for example, resistance, and one's different than the other, that would then suggest that one of them's gone faulty. Even though I don't understand how these work, that kind of makes sense in my head. So let me get the multimeter out and I'm going to show you what they read on resistance. Right, so between white and red we have 750 ohms. Yeah, the same. Okay, it's a good start. Well, actually that's a pretty bad start really, because this white thing here I was hoping was going to be damaged, but clearly it's not. Again, 750 between white and black. Yeah, it's the same. Interesting, and between white and blue we have 1000 ohms. And between the white and the blues we have 1000 ohms. So it does all seem kind of correct, doesn't it? Right, leave it with me for a bit. I want to just mess around with these. I want to see, for example, if I, if I put pressure on it there, there, will the resistances change? Let me just see if I can do one on camera. The thing is, I don't know what I should be going across. Let me just see if I can, let's get a reading. Right, so white blue doesn't do anything. I don't know how weighing scales work. Nice to find out though. That doesn't do anything. Do you reckon it's creating a voltage? Let's go to millivolts. It's so hard because there's so little wire left. I think in this instance I'm going to see if there's any, if I Google how the weighing scales work, just somebody might have a video or something on YouTube about how they actually work, because there's four wires and I don't know which ones to go across, but we definitely have ohm readings. I don't think that the issue's here. But saying that, I don't actually know. It's just that the white one is the one that's crushed, and yet the white one appears to be working the same as this, and this isn't crushed. So I don't think the crush is anything to do with it. But I would like to know if there's a way we can test these, because then we know that this part of it is okay.
Hello back again, the star of the show, 10 minutes later.
Right, unfortunately to test load cells, they're called, you need to have the spec sheet, and it will tell you what the impedance is. And then you need to apply a voltage, normally between 5 and 10 volts, on a couple of the wires, and then you will test on millivolts. So I wasn't a million miles off. You will test on millivolts. Once the voltage goes into it, you will test on the other two wires for millivolts, and it should match what the spec sheets say. Problem is, there's no markings on this whatsoever, so I don't know what it should or shouldn't be. So I can't do any of that. But the bottom line is that what is the likelihood of both of them going faulty? Highly unlikely. Now you see me measure the other ones earlier, and now if I go between black and blue, you will see again, it makes sense, 750 ohms, and then this one here, black and red, will be 1000 ohms, and it's the same on both of them. So now that's 1000 ohms, and then if I go between red and blue, it's 750 again, I think. 750, and if I do the same here. So we know now they're both measuring the same as each other, so I don't believe these are faulty. I think it might be related to this motor and straining at the back or something. So if you have a look there, 1000, if I go on the black and blue, it is 750, and if I go blue and red, 750. There you go. So I think they're okay. So let's turn our attention back onto the gearbox, but this time let's put power in with the cover off and see if we can physically see what the problem is on the inside. The other thing that could be happening is the axle could be slipping on the little white nylon gear in here. Right, let's put power in again. We're going to zoom right in. We're going to have a look at this middle gear to see if that's the thing that's slipping. I think it is. So we're going to be looking at this one here. Let's see if that thing is doing the slipping. So let's put the tweezers in here. I've got a feeling the gears are just going to pop off though. Hold on 1 second now. Right, so I'm going to hold that there. Should be able to hold that quite strongly. Get back in. The other question is it designed? Is it supposed to be slipping there? Right, I'm in. Okay, here goes. Ready? Oh, come on, stay in. I don't think this is going to be successful. There's going to be a bit of a kick, you see. Let's try it. So that popped out there, I've got to wait until it stops. That popped out there, that wasn't fair. So I have to try to hold this down here. Ready? Yeah, it's spinning in the middle. Can you see it? Spinning just here. Look, there. It's spinning there. Now, is it designed to do that or not? I'm not going to keep on doing it. But that's the problem there. I'm going to say that it's not. Well, hold on. If it's not designed to do that, how is it going to cut out? This is a real tough one. Is that designed to slip or not? See, I can't see how it is. Let's take all these gears out. I can't see how it is because otherwise, if there were slight intolerances when they're getting made, then one might work, one might just keep on spinning. I think there's something else that's supposed to cut out when it finds finds how far it's gone. Oh, hold on a minute. That's unbelievably loose. Oh, it's cracked. Ah, there you go, brilliant. Oh my word! Fair enough on Tommy's toys from the 80s, but come on, this is only going to be a few years old. How annoying is that? Oh well, there you go. Right, let me see if I've got one of those gears. I doubt it, but you never know, I might have. I have got a few bags of generic gears. Right, annoyingly, I haven't got any. I've also got another box of gears as well, and basically they're all too big. This is super fine, like super, super fine. But what I'm wondering is, I haven't counted up the teeth yet. If I was to put on something, let's pretend now just to make maths easy, if this has 14 teeth and this one had 7. Okay, let's make it more believable. This has 20 and this is 10. As long as it gets every other gear on that one, will it? I know it's going to make a difference to the speed, but who cares about the speed of this thing? Do you know what I mean? Who cares if it runs a little bit quicker or a little bit slower? So I'm just wondering, I might just try to make that hole a little bit bigger, just to put it on there, just to see what happens. Because basically, well, even that's far too big. That's the closest I've got. Everything else is way too big or just too many teeth. Ones here that look like similar. These would be from old toys that I've just kept, but even these have tiny cracks in. I can see a little crack here. But again, there's way too, this is really super fine. Super, super fine. So what follows is about half an hour of me trying to get this gear to fit. So to begin with, I've got to make the hole bigger on the inside. That takes quite a bit of time. In fact, I break the first one in trying to do that because I did buy extra drill bits, but it's weird. The replacement ones that I bought are as blunt could be, and also lots of them seem to be the same size. So I think it's one of those things where buy cheap, buy twice. Because the last ones that I bought were really good. It's just that they only go up to, I think it was 1.6 mil. I can't even remember what it is now off the top of my head. But I got a set that goes all the way to 3 mil. But they all seem as blunt could be, unless they're made for some other kind of metal or something like that. But you still think they would work their way through plastic. But anyway, I mess up the first one. Then I go on to the second one, and I do get the hole just right so it fits on the motor. But annoyingly, the teeth are far too long. So what I do is I put power into the motor on my bench power supply. With all my messing, eventually I do break the wires off, but that's not that big a deal. And then I have to get a metal file, and I'm just going to hold it against the gear while it's spinning around, so it's doing the hard work for me, and I'm just filing it down. Unfortunately, when I do that, the teeth end up too fat. So at least before they went to a point, but they were too long. When I file it down, they're just way too fat. They won't mesh with the next gear whatsoever because the teeth are about 2 times the size of the indentations in the other gear that it needs to mesh with. So yeah, it's just not an option. So I look back at the original gear again and I try to repair up the original gear. So let's pick up the video when I'm back on the original gear. It is a bit of a shame that broken plastic gears tend to follow me around. Kind of getting sick of it now because they're just never it's just never a fix that you can do that's going to work well. Not with the pitch of that, it's tiny. There's no point in saying 3D printer. No 3D printer that I'm going to be able to afford is going to be able to print down to that pitch there. And let's say if I was to use some kind of silicone mold and then pour some sort of plastic in to make my own gear, I don't think that on a gear this small, again, you're looking at it on a big screen. In reality, it's a couple of mil across. Maybe 2-3 mil? No, yeah, probably a 2.5 mil across with all those teeth. I don't think you're going to get the definition, even if you were to make a mould out of that. I don't think it's going to be precise enough to be able to make it mesh nicely with the gear next to it. Thing is, I don't actually know how gears are made. I've never looked up how nylon gears are made. I presume they're in some sort of... Are they in a metal mould? Is that how they're made? One big long metal mould and then they're cut down along the shaft, all different sizes. I presume they must be made out of metal or aluminium or something. So we can put glue on. I wonder, is there any way I can pack it out a tiny bit? Would a bit of Captain tape, or will Captain tape be too big? Heat shrink's going to be way too big. Just wondering if I could have something that was a fraction of a millimetre. Even if I just use a corner of this, it might be something to help it force itself on. Let me do it without glue for a second to see if it would force it on it. No, it's just forced it. Look how big it is now. Look at the crack now, it's massive. Right, so that's not an option, unfortunately. No, not an option at all. I'll tell you what I do have. I wonder, would this be better, the solvent cement? That might, would that hold it better? Because that might actually melt this. Tell you what I'll do. Let's widen it up, try to put some solvent cement in there. There, so let's make it nice and big like that. Try to get a little bit of this in there. And then when that closes up, hopefully that will actually glue the plastic together, and then the super glue can put it onto the metal shaft. Right, I'm going to put that in a clamp for a few minutes. Right, that's that. Yeah, I've got to wait now, haven't I? in about 5 minutes. Hopefully that's gone off. Here we go. I'm not putting it right the way to the bottom, otherwise it will glue itself to the shaft there. Well, it went on pretty easy, so I don't actually think it's going to, I don't think that's going to work. I wonder, is there anything I can do to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a Dremel tool, because if I can make a little cut across here, because I only need this to go on the side, don't I? Hold on, this might be a fix. I only need that to go on the side. Already, look how hard it is there, look. Can you hear that? That's the crack. If I can make a little slit across here, I might be able to put a bit of tin or something in it. And then that will be sort of welded in a way to the axle. So I get the Having Fun Repairs Dremel tool out, and I get the thinnest blade on there, and I do get a few sparks out of it, but because it's so thin, it's kind of just bouncing around the top and sort of bending around the place. All that's happening is it's just taking away the top of the motor shaft rather than cutting into it. I also use a grinding pen, and that doesn't work either. Again, it's just taking away the top of the, well, it's not even really taking it away, it's just polishing up. I've got a nice shiny tip on the motor shaft now, and that's about it. In hindsight, I wish I'd use a hacksaw. I've seen now when editing that there is 2 little screws, so I could have taken the motor out of the gearbox. I was thinking at the time about a hacksaw, but the motor was too sunk into the gearbox, so I wouldn't have been able to use it. But you know what? Even a hacksaw, I think the blade would be too thick to actually make a slot in the motor shaft. Remember, the motor shaft is going to be tiny, a couple of mil, so it's going to be hard to get a hacksaw small enough to go in between that. I don't really know if there's an easy solution here. Anyway, I'm going to put it back together and see what's what. I have to solder the wires back on, because remember, the wires have come off the motor. And yeah, I don't need to put it all back together. We're just going to put power into it now and see if it's working more reliably than it did before. I'm just going to turn this on to get this out of the way. Right, so it's gone that way. Let's kill power. Hold on. Let's put it back in again. So is that correct there? No, it's gone again. It gave me one go and now it's gone. I hate you. Oh, what a shame. There's nothing I can do. It's a failure video. I can't do anything with that little gear. I mean, they are going to exist. I just know I've got, well, I'd have to count the teeth, that's no bother. But then I'd have to get the sizes, but it's not just the overall size, is it? It's also the size of the teeth. And also you've got to get the hole in the middle correct. So you've got to get, there's loads of measurements to do. Yeah, so if you have a look here, these are set. So if this is the amount of teeth here, these are set. And also, look at the price of the thing as well. Which, I mean, A, B, C, and D are set. I think I'm asking for, I think I'm asking too much to be able to find one to fit that. Oh, I wonder if the company or the person who invented these nylon gears, if they knew the amount of trouble it was going to cause a person called my mate Vince many years in the future, would they have stopped in their tracks and thought, we can't do it to him? I'd like to think they would. I mean, people might say it's a first world problem, but I don't think so. I mean, do those people not understand the importance of 1980s Tomy toys and clearly now pet feeders as well? I mean, that's pretty serious stuff. Anyway, at this moment in time, it's a failure video, but I'm going to just show you this next bit now. I put it all back together just to show you it not working. And then I get a sudden urge of enthusiasm, and I decide to take one more look at the gearbox. Yay! Right, okay, so beforehand it worked occasionally. Now it's not working at all. I think I know why that is. Because now, because we've been messing with the gear, we've probably made it ever so slightly wider. And remember, even when we go to turn it by hand, it kind of clicks where it meets that other gear, so it's not meshing properly. While beforehand, I suppose it wanted to spin this and it would work every now and then. Now it's not doing it at all. Right, just off camera, I'm going to take it apart one more time because I believe this is working apart from that one gear. And I'm just going to see if there's anything else I can do with it. Well, this is interesting. I'm so glad I took it apart again. Remember, I was sort of thinking, is there a clutch or something? And I was thinking there must be something to, you know, if a cat's head got trapped. Well, there is. So what I've done is, I took it, this one was completely loose now. Like, the glue did nothing, which, I don't know. Even though I tried to rough it up, you're doing plastic against a super smooth surface. It's just not going to work. In fact, you can see the remains of a little bit of glue there. But watch this. When I turn it on, if I stop it, it will actually stop. So watch this. Like, you know, it normally works for about, you know, 20 seconds. Check this out. Right now, and stop. Yeah, and look, there you go. It stops. But then what will happen is it will continue on again. Stop. So obviously there is some overload. In fact, I can feel that when I do that, I can feel it gives for a second, then stops. So right now, what I've done is I've put 2 lots of Captain tape on, but in doing that, I ended up a little bit of one of the plastic teeth completely broke off because clearly now I've spread it quite a bit because I've put 2 bits of Captain tape on, and I'm missing a tooth completely. But I think the Captain tape is flapping around in there, and I think it's kind of still making contact with the teeth here. So because only one tooth's missing, I think there's still enough to grip. But that's really interesting. So every time I do this now and stop it, I mean, there's a lot of strength now, but when I stop it, it's not spinning, and then it starts again. Look. So there definitely is something that cuts out. Well, I'm going to put the rest of it together. I mean, I've got my hopes up now that the 2 Captain tapes is going to make it work, but I think what's actually going to happen is when the rest of it's on, I think there's going to be a lot more friction. Right, let's see now. Got that? That's strong. That's very strong. I can't stop that with my fingers. Yes! I can't stop that with my fingers. Now it's going the other way. It's noisy. I don't care. And I can't stop that with my fingers. Captain tape to the rescue. Now, that Captain tape's not going to wear down, is it? I suppose it just depends whether or not the gear gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because it is cracked. Or maybe it's reached its kind of... maybe it's reached what is happy reaching to. You know, because plastic will give a bit, won't it? But it won't keep on giving before it snaps. You know what? This might actually be a fix. Right, I'm going to put it all back together. Then we'll see what's happening. I'm squeezing that hard. You can see the state of my fingers there. It's really strong. Really strong. Okay, well, let's not tempt fate, but that is that's working the best it's worked all day long. I'm going to put it all back together and then I'll start filming when it's back together. Look at this. I think the Captain tape has worked, and maybe that one of the teeth fell out. That might have made it easier to mesh, possibly. I'm not sure. Because it might not be quite so wide. But that just feels nice, and then it shuts off with, you know, there's no like afterwards. That's pretty good. I can actually hear the motor stop. Right, I'm just going to give this a little clean up. Make it look a bit more presentable. Right, well that looks slightly more presentable than it did before. You know, I'm really tempted to buy one of these closing things just to finish up the video because I think it'd be quite nice to see it working. Let me price them up, see how much they are. Oh, basically I think I've wired it up wrong, or maybe it's to do with the wires the opposite way on the motor, because now look, when it's in the up position here and I press this button, these don't come on. And when it's in the down position, watch, now they'll come on. It takes a couple of seconds. There you go, after it makes that noise. Can you see? So it's like it's back to front. And if I put this in, it doesn't work because it's in the, it thinks it's in the up position. And when we put it in the up position, and give it a few seconds, it will now work. So what's that about? Ready? Watch. See? But so when the cat comes, it's now going to be closing it. Oh no, I have to take it apart and swap it around, don't I? So I need a bit of good luck on this fix, so I'm bringing in, of course, the yellow mat. So 100% we will have a successful outcome because the yellow mat brings luck. Now, I could take apart the gearbox motor type thing again and swap the wires around from there, because that's where I accidentally broke the wires off, and clearly I've put them back to front. But why bother doing that when the circuit board is exposed? I'm just going to swap the wires at the circuit board, because from what I can see, it doesn't seem to be labelled up positive and negative on the circuit board anyway. And even if it does, realistically, if this fails again, I don't think anybody's going to be repairing it. So I just make it easy for myself and I unsolder them from the circuit board and I just swap them over. So I put the red where the black was and the black where the red was. Now let's put it back together and see if it's working properly now. Come on now, be good to me. So let's put this in. Result. Brilliant. Okay, that's opened up there. Now let's see if it closes back down when this moves away. Don't know how far that has to be. Fantastic. Now let's see if the lights work when I press this. It shouldn't work because it's down. No. Now you're going to go to feed, so you press the button, it opens up. Give it a few seconds. And now we're going to press this. Beauty, look at that. Fantastic, check that out there. Right, I am going to price up one of these things here. It seems to be working very well, and now it won't work. Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. And one more time. Result. Okay, let me price up one of these. Okay, what I've done is I've bought a new lid for £10 and I thought, why not? Let's get the bowls as well, because I really want to see how it seals against the bowls, because it's supposed to keep the food fresher. And you can see that it kind of goes down this little bit here. I just want to see the mechanism work, and it'd be nice, I think, to show it in the video as well. The reason I like it so much is because I gave up on it, and then when I revisited it, I then put the Captain tape in, and I know it might fail any moment, but I must have done it about 20 times since, and it's working every single time. So pretend I'm the cat now, I'm going along, and boom, you can see it opens up. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I want to see it all complete at the end. What's nice is I actually bought from the company themselves, not from Amazon, not from eBay, from the company themselves, and get this, free postage. So I think £10 for that lump of plastic here, and also £9 for the bowls, is actually a very fair price. They're really not ripping you off there, considering it's free postage. So yeah, really happy with that. Also, I look back at the message that Mike sent me about the fault with these things here, and it says that you have 2 bowls, one for wet food, one for dry, and it measures per grams in the Sure Pet Care app. and basically it says when you have a set amount of food in the app, the row of dots illuminate at the front when you have reached a set amount. So let's say if you're going to put in, I don't know, 10 grams of dry and 20 grams of wet, well then when you get to 10 and 20 grams, these will light up here. If you overfill them, they go to red, so if you put more weight on, and if you underfill them, the lights don't go as much as that. And it says here, this didn't work in both sides from memory. It has something to do with the little white hammer thingies, which are these things down here. So think about it. If this wasn't working properly, well, this isn't going to work either. This will only work, the reset, the lights will only work when you do this at the top here. So if that wasn't working properly, then these wouldn't work either. So I'm wondering if they're all related to that little gear, because what's the odds of having 2 faults on something which isn't that old? Because you can see now, when you hit the button here, every single time they're lighting up. Yeah. And it's completely reliable doing that. So I think it might all be related to the same thing. What I mean by that is it will only allow you to reset the weights when the lid is up. In other words, when you're putting food into the trays. So now we know earlier many times the motor would whir, so the machine thinks it's down, but the lid is actually still up. So when Mike was going to use it, if the lid's up, he's going to think that you're able to reset the weight. But remember, the machine thinks it's down because there's no sensor to let it know when it's down. It just moves up and down. So it could be in the down position as far as the machine's concerned, but for us looking at it, it's in the up position. So I think that's why it wasn't working properly. If it was only one side that went, then I would say, okay, it's maybe something to do with the weights. The very fact that both sides weren't working, it's all to do with this little gear here. It's just that when we visually see the tray and the flap up, you think you can add food and the weight should work, but the machine doesn't know that. The machine could think that the flap's down, the cover's down. So hopefully that makes sense now. And now it makes sense in my head. This fault all along wasn't anything to do with water damage or anything like that. It was purely the fact that that gear had cracked. So anyway, I'm doing a voiceover here. These are arriving tomorrow morning nice and early. So for you, it's going to be a couple of seconds. But for me, I'm going to get a good night's sleep. And then I'm going to finish off this video in the morning. Hopefully with the bowl in place and the lid in place. And I can't wait to actually see the mechanism. I don't know why, but I've really, really enjoyed this fix. Check this out, the parts have now arrived. I think I might have purchased the wrong bowls, or I think maybe there's another stand or something that goes underneath here, because these bowls have like a rubber top. That rubber top is supposed to seal with the lid to keep it more airtight. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but it's supposed to keep the food fresh. While with these, the bowls are moving around. So there's there's no way that they're going to stay fresh. Anyway, I've got the lid. You get the idea. So check this out. If I was to open up the back here, every time I've done it, it's worked. So now what you can do is you can take the bowls out, you can put your dry food, your wet food, your water, etc. in here. Then you can put them in here and you're thinking, oh, I need to weigh it. Remember, I can't do it because I haven't got the app and I haven't got the hub, even if I had the app. But if I hit this button at the back here, you can see that these light up here now. So you can reset. I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go, you'll be able to see it now. There you go. So when you put your food in there, it's going to register there, and then you're going to hit the button at the back and the lid goes down. That's lovely. And now I've got a cat here to demonstrate. So here's the cat with the little thing around its neck here. Cat comes along in here and it opens up. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Goes away and then it will close. I really, really like it. I think what I like about it is the fact that it seems like a kind of project that somebody at college or university would do. Granted, the circuit board is much more complicated than I thought it would be, but if you forget about the fact that it's reading microchips, then maybe it becomes a lot more simpler if you would just have to have these IR things here and then the motor mechanism to do that. I really, really like it. So let me just get the camera down so you can see a different angle. So watch the lid open up now. Cat comes along and it opens up. It's brilliant, isn't it? Really like the way that folds up there. So that is it for this video. I'm not sure why I liked it so much. I think it's because I pretty much gave up on it and then I just gave it one more go, and I don't know how it's still working, But it is working every single time, and I must have done this about 50 times now because I find it quite addictive. I don't know if it's going to keep on lasting well into the future. You never know. It might do. Maybe that gear is quite happy now, especially that I've cleaned everything up. There might not be a huge amount of friction around the place. So is it going to be a lasting fix? I doubt it, but you never know. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.